Into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Fodringer, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, a Dolphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. It has been a week since our last episode, and absolutely nothing has happened. So that's where we are at the minute. Thankfully, we have something to talk about. We have a game on Friday night to talk about. When I say thankful, it is we're at home to Leeds United, who are one of the form teams in the division. So take what you want from that. We will cover all the latest manager rumours, which is very thin on the ground, but we'll talk about it. And then we'll look ahead to the Yorkshire derby, which is live on Sky, which is exciting. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you. All right, fully refreshed after my international break.
Yeah, you went international as well, didn't you? International-ish. Wales.
Oh yeah. That's true. I did. Yeah, came back and my internet were broke. So there you go.
Yeah. So hopefully at least Danny, hopefully your internet lives on, because if yours goes as well, then it's just me sat here. So there's pressure on your internet tonight.
We'll have to wait and see. But I'm slightly less refreshed because I've only just about recovered from my graduation party last night.
So but everybody congratulate Danny on graduation. Did you have a good day?
Yeah, bloody hell, it were hot and tiring. Like when we went to get the hat and gown sorted, God, it were hot. It was so hot, an hour in a three-piece, and it was just, oh my God. But no, the day itself were really good. I've bought a graduation bear. That's what I've called him, Georgie. And I've also found out that I can fit into a medium t-shirt now, so I'm loving life.
I can.
Can you?
Yeah, I can't get it off once it's on, but
How big was that Sweden shirt that Thorbjorn gave you? That must have been a medium.
that was medium. Yeah, that was.
It didn't fit you.
Let's say about that a bit, really.
Plenty of people with us so far. Sarah Ogden, Martin Holland. Gunbusters can't be any worse than Taylor for Motivation. Okay. Nathan Crabtree is with us, as well as Kim Hill with Terra Tremby, John Hemsby. Philip Hawes is global for us. He's from New Zealand today in their morning, I guess. So thank you for being with us. So let's start with the manager stuff, because that's the most important thing. Well, it's important. The front runner at the minute, Mick. Let's go through it. Gary Rowett was the front runner. Gary Rowett did an interview with Gab Sutton. If you haven't watched it, if you've got a spare hour, go watch it, because I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. He's an interesting guy, Rowett, and fairly funny for a football manager. He said at the very, very end that he wasn't particularly close to anything. He said he had offers that weren't right for him at the time. I obviously don't know if that was us or not, but he did say that. And so he was essentially waiting for the right project. Mick, thoughts on that? Because if he had an interview lined at the day after, he's not going to tell Gab Sutton or anybody else, oh yeah, I've got a Rotherham interview tomorrow, so keep an eye on that. Do you think that's just a media answer?
Yeah, I do. I mean, these people, by the nature of the job, have to keep the cards close to the chest, don't they? Particularly when you're in the jobs market, and they know that they're going to be up against other people as well. If assuming that he has been approached, or assuming he's approached us, whichever way around it is, they're going to play the cards close to the chest. Or assuming he hasn't approached us and we haven't approached him, he's still going to play his cards close to his chest. Yeah. You know, so I don't think you can take too much from it. I don't know where else to go with it, you know, and this is I think we've talked it to death, and certainly social media's talked it to death, haven't they? It's getting to the stage where people are now moaning about people moaning. And rightly so.
Yeah. I mean, the moan comes, Danny, And I think we try not to criticise the club on this podcast, to be honest with you. Constructive criticism where we tend to aim everything. But it's quite difficult to defend where we are, bearing in mind we sacked a manager 2 weeks ago. And if you believe the reports, interviews are just about starting, maybe starting early next week. You've had 2 weeks to sort this out. And like I think Mick said in the last episode, there should have been some pre-thought to this before the decision made. So the frustration and anger to it in some patches is it valid that the club are not waiting?
The fact that the reports are now saying that the interview process is beginning, it's like, well, it almost makes it feel like it were a bit of a snap decision to sack Matt Taylor now. Because if in an ideal world, if you were to sack a manager before an international break, you would have the interview process not ongoing, but you'd have your shortlist to look at nearly straight away. Because then you can get the interview sorted and then the manager can come in and still do something. Whereas now we're going into the Leeds game managerless with Matt Taylor's staff in charge, and it almost feels like they're just the cork to bung a hole at the minute. And as soon as Matt Taylor gets a new job, they'll be off as well. So I think the only reason they haven't gone is because they want to stay employed for the time being, essentially. Which is no disrespect to them at all, but that's just the vibe it gives off.
Yeah.
And you know, the only thing we've really got to go on is what the bookies are saying. And being best mates with someone who used to work in a bookies, you never trust the bookies odds because it's basically whatever way people are betting. I said Ryan Creswell for the Rotherham job, and then suddenly he jumped to 6-1. So
that's crazy.
It's like who has put on £5 and changed the odds for that? Like, please let me know because I want to pay you that £5 back because it's silly. But it does strike me as a bit of we've sacked a manager and now it's your turn, Rob Scott, find us a new manager rather than the process being ongoing. Because we all thought, cause there was rumours flying about that if Matt Taylor had, like, say, lost against QPR, that would have been him gone.
Well, yeah.
Didn't. So you would have thought the wheels would have been in motion from that time. At least just to shortlist it. I mean, to interview a manager whilst you've still got a manager would be a little bit snaky. But even just to have a shortlist of, right, you, and you, we're ready, just in case it hits the fan. But it did hit the fan against Watford, and then suddenly we don't have a manager. And it's like, right, interviews, international break, cool. Nothing's happening. Happening. It's Leeds tomorrow. And Wayne Carlisle's is still going to be in the dugout, running the show. And the interviews are starting next week. Right, cool. So we've had all that time to get the prep done, and it sounds like we've got the prep done at the last minute, which is a bit, you know.
It's that feeling that if you've got like an essay due on the Monday, you don't do any of the work till the Sunday, and you get all smashed through really, really late on. It's got that vibe to it. Tefemi says we're always behind the door, never in front of it. Not helped, Mick. Now, we don't know if this is true, but it's not helped by the reports of Tony Stewart going away for the weekend. By all reports, Macedonia was pictured with Brian Dean. If this is true, it was the weekend just gone. We assume for the England-Macedonia game. It's not been the image and the story and the narrative, if you want to use that word, Mick. The club haven't controlled it. The club are not controlling what's being said and everything else. They're just sort of letting things happen. I don't know where that comes from. I thought I mentioned this last week, I think. When Paul Warren left, I thought the club did a really, really good job at controlling everything and talking to people and everything else. I thought it was brilliant when Warren left, the way the club did it. It's been the opposite of that this time. I've been disappointed with a lack of communication from the club.
It's almost as if some sort of instruction to just keep quiet about this till we get it sorted.
Yeah,
I'm sure that is the case. Sam Todd's very professional at the job that he does, and he puts a huge amount of hard work into trying to build a relationship with fans through social media. And he's kind of been a little it would appear to have had his hands tied a little bit in this case. So it would suggest that things are moving behind the scenes we don't know. We don't know what's going off. We don't know what plans have been put in place. We don't know whether any plans have been put in place or whether this was always the plan, to dependent on the availability of the people that they want to interview. We don't know whether people have already been interviewed. We don't know any of this stuff at all. So it's all speculation. And it does none of us any good, does it? I mean, it keeps us entertained for the first 2 or 3 days on social media, and then it starts grinding a little bit. And we are now sort of 3 or 4 podcasts deep into this, and it's time for us really as supporters, I think, to look forward to the next few games, 2 of which are away from home, so we can't really look forward to them, and just get behind the team on Friday night and see what happens. We've got no control over it, no matter how much we moan and groan about it and shout and swear about it, we've got no control, have we? So it's a bit tight, see what happens.
Yeah, we could do that. John Michael in the comments says, even as you sounded well on Radio Sheffield, Mick. It was on Radio Football Every tonight. Congratulations, Danny. Jordan Michael says.
Thank you, Jordan.
Congratulations as well. Palmer says he reckons that Ainsworth in and Mick as his number 2. That'd only work if we had a Neil Warnock style documentary, so you both mic it up and we got to listen to you both screaming at each other saying how stupid you both are or something like that.
I could do with that.
I'd be fully on board with that. Let's just talk about who the current favourite is, Danny, because again, it's probably just worth mentioning. The current favourite, as things stand, is Liam Richardson. He shot up in the odds a couple of weeks ago. Well, a few days ago. It feels like weeks ago. It is only a few days ago. Liam Richardson, Danny, he doesn't quite fit the bill in terms of being there and done it. He did manage in the Championship, and he did a relatively good job for Wigan, bearing in mind the crazy circumstances that Wigan were under. And if, from my point of view, if Liam Richardson was appointed tomorrow, we'd all get behind him, and I could pick out some positive points. I could say, I think it's going to be good because of X, Y, and Z. But it wouldn't get me out of my seat. I wouldn't be going, oh my God, we've got Liam bloody Richardson here. I think it would be more a solid appointment. Would it even be solid? What are your thoughts on that?
Liam Richardson's an interesting one because, funnily enough, it seemed to have shot up in the odds when we mentioned his name on the podcast. So, so it's like, does someone work at Bet365 who watches us? And they're just like, oh, we'll just bump that one up just a little bit. But yeah, I agree to that. I think Richardson is like, yeah, okay, fair. We'd get behind him, and it's one of them where you could understand the points that have got him the job, basically. But like I say, it's hardly a coup getting Liam Richardson. I'd say like Gary Rowett or Nathan Jones, for a club of Rotherham's level and size, would be considered a coup, bear in mind what they've done in the past. Whereas with Liam Richardson, the notable point that sticks in my head is that he picked us to League One and then was the victim of circumstance at Wigan where it all just went belly up very quickly. But I think with the job he did with Wigan in the League One season and the ambition that he had with Wigan before it went belly up may have put him not top of our list, because we don't know what the list is, but certainly of a positive opinion, shall we say. And I'd be for it, but I'd be for Nathan Jones, Gary Rowett, and any of the others as well, because as I said on the last podcast, there's yeses for all of them, but some have more yeses than others, I think.
Yeah. Shellstone Rattler says it came across very well in an article. I think it was a coach's, can't remember what it's called now, coach's blog or something like that. I'll see if I can find the name of it while I ask you a question, Mick. I think he does come across really well. I think when I listened to his interviews at Wigan and everything else, I like Liam Richardson. I like what he does. I like what he did at Wigan. I thought he did an excellent job, to be honest with you. And again, bearing in mind the circumstances. It's not, from a fan's perspective, with the other names floating around, it just doesn't scream, oh my God, this is very exciting. But then it could be brilliant because he could be what we need, because us and Wigan aren't that dissimilar in terms of clubs, in terms of fan base, what we expect from the players as well. So it might work really well.
It may do. It may do. I think, to be honest with you, I think Shelley's got to the point here with this one, this comment.
Yeah.
Do we think Richardson is a sideways step, a massive upgrade on Matt Taylor? And I think that's probably right. It is a sideways step. It's possibly a step in the direction of Paul Warne as well, because they seem very similar characters, albeit Richardson's more of a coach than Paul Warne was in terms of, experience, if you like, taking the job. So I don't think it'd be a massive shift in terms of what we see on the pitch. It doesn't need a massive shift. Ultimately, ideally it does, but you know what I mean. In order to get to survive, I don't think it needs a huge shift. But my only sticking point with it, I think Richardson's going to be another one like Matt Taylor in terms of he needs some time to settle and get established. And I'm not convinced we've got that at the moment. We are still reasonably early in the season. I was having a chat with a Chesterfield fan at work today. They're 8 points clear, and and I'm sort of sat here thinking, we're in trouble with 4 points adrift, and seasons. I'm getting depressed because we're going to get relegated. And but I'm saying to him, it's only November. You're 8 points clear, but it's only November. There's a. Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of concern, but in different circumstances. But if we were another 10 games down the line and only 1-2 more wins, then I don't think we can afford that at this stage. So I suspect Liam Richardson might be one that would take too much time to settle, given the current circumstances. But I do like him, definitely.
Yeah. John S says, not bothered now. We'll wait and wish them well, whoever it is, tired of rumours.
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Yeah, it does. It pretty much does. One thing that we do know, Danny, Wayne Carlisle will. If you want to read the William Richardson, that's from the coach's voice. I do recommend it. It's quite interesting. Sheds a bit of light on what happened at Wigan last year. Just an interesting article altogether, whether he comes to us or not. Back to it. Wayne Carlisle, Danny, will be in the dugout for Friday night, assisted by Scott Brown, the goalkeeping coach, and Dan Green, the coach. He's thrown his hat into the ring as Wayne Carlisle, publicly throwing his hat into the ring. Says who wouldn't take the opportunity. Surprised at that, because I am.
Yeah, I am as well, to be fair. I was surprised that the backroom staff would take control, just for the time being. Because I thought they would have gone with Matt Taylor, but like I said before, I suppose because he's not gone straight into another job and been pinched by somebody else, they've sort of hung around until we're a bit clearer with it. But I'm still of the opinion that when Matt Taylor finds a new job, wherever that is, they will go with him, because that was his setup at Bristol. Bristol, good grief. That was his setup at Exeter, and it was his setup with us. I mean, we had the faff about with the goalkeeper coach, because he was still registered as a player at Exeter. So he took a bit longer to come to us. So I still think there's that little thing of when Taylor gets a new job, they'll go straight away. And would we take that risk? Like if Matt Taylor finds a job, say in, I don't know, January time, right? But we've already appointed Wayne Carlisle as the successor manager, which, as scary as it sounds, I could see being the case, because it could be the cheap option, and like with things like that. But then he goes in January, then we're back to square one. So I think Wayne Carlisle putting his hat into the ring shows his ambition as an assistant manager to be the main man at some point. But at the same time, I wouldn't take him as manager here. I'd rather have like an established name, shall we say?
Yeah, I think the only way.
Has he put his hat in the ring? Has he really?
Yeah. He said he's interested in the job.
Has he been asked? If you were offered it, would you take it? That's not putting your hat in the ring.
He said he was asked if he would be interested in the job, interested in taking the job.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested in a lot of jobs. I'm interested in being Lewis Hamilton's teammate. Not going to happen, is it? It's the questions that are asked are important.
The only way he's going to get the job is if he beats Leeds and beats Hull. I don't think
Andy
that's going to
applies.
happen. Andy's official
Andy
plan.
applies for the interview for it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think I would be surprised if he's being considered. But then if we do win the next 2 games, would you be silly not to consider it because he's beat Leeds and Hull? I don't know. That's no.
Okay. So let's assume he is the manager. He has been appointed and he loses against Leeds and Hull. Are you going to sack him?
Well, it's interim.
It's the same difference, isn't it? You know, just because you've won 2 games, don't mean it's going to. You're going to. He's not got the experience, and I've got nothing against the fella at all. He's a really, really decent bloke and a good coach, and I'm sure at some stage he will make a decent manager. But now's not the time, and here's not the place as we stand. I think it's just. I think it was Adam Oxley from Radio Sheffield that asked him the question, and I think it's just. It's an obvious question you're going to ask, innit, of a caretaker manager. If you were offered the job, would you take it? Yeah, of course I would. And I think that's as far as we are with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it gives something to talk about, doesn't it? So
yeah, does it really?
We covered through a few minutes there. Let's move forward. Shelley asks, do you think Wayne Carlisle will have the same outlook as Matt Taylor, or give us that something bit different we've been looking for, a bit of fight maybe? And I think, Danny, this plays into what his potential ambitions are. Because if let's assume Wayne Carlisle is interested in the job, he's going to have to do something different because he's going to have to, again, this is a big if. But if he does want to do it, he's got to show that he's capable of changing the squad very, very quickly and doing something different that Matt Taylor wasn't able to do. Or is he just there, do you think, to steady the ship, get us through this couple of games, and it will just be a bit of a continuation?
I think Wayne Carlisle understood Matt Taylor's approach to football and was a good, not good guy, bad guy relationship in it, but you could tell like who was the football person in Matt Taylor with his tactics. And like we've said before, he's the sort of bloke you go for a pint with and just talk football for 3 hours. Whereas I think Wayne Carlisle was more of like the trainer, So I can sort of see if he was to get the job, I could see him coming in and trying to do something different. But I think that's because his outlook on football is different. I've seen someone in the comments keep waiting until January and then never do at Warnock. I mean, Warnock's come out and said he don't really have a job until January, February time. But again, it's a short-term solution, even with Warnock. And it would be a short-term solution to get in a short-term solution if we were to go with that. So I think with Wayne Carlisle, it's just an interim period. I think he'll get us through Leeds. What's after Leeds? Is it Hull? Yeah, maybe Leeds, Hull, potentially Birmingham. But I don't think it'll take that long. He says that, but we'll wait and see. So yeah, I think if Wayne Carlisle was to stay, it'd be an interim basis. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm of the opinion it shouldn't never have got to that point in the first place.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Nathan Crabtree says normally when they say that type of thing, it means they're going to go their separate ways in reference to Wayne Carlisle and Matt Taylor. Don't be surprised if they don't go with Taylor next job. Well, the new manager might need a new backroom staff. Nathan Jones, I think when he went to Luton, I don't think he took a lot of his backroom staff with him. I think he used the Southampton staff. So to use an example, would he need a Wayne Carlisle type to come in? Liam Richardson, we don't know what happened with their backroom stuff, so it may well be that Wayne Carlisle, Dan Green, and Scott Brown stay on with the new manager depending on the circumstances, because they'll be in contract. I assume they'll be in the same level of contract as Matt Taylor for 2.5 more years. So it also saves on termination fees or whatever the phrase would be for those as well. Ian Bradley says, have the Steve Evans rumours disappeared? Yeah, they seem to have quietened down the Steve Evans rumours. Look, he's never out of it because I think how close Steve Evans and Tony Stewart are, I think we'd never see him out of it when he's doing such a good job. But I think they've gone very quiet. Phil, would you take Ainsworth if he kept us up, Mick?
What? Otherwise, we go down no matter who we get. I mean, is that the question or what? No. The only way that I would take Gareth Ainsworth is if the other option was Steve Evans.
Okay.
That's it.
What if Gareth Ainsworth allowed you to be
and-
part of his band?
bit like Bez at Happy Mondays with tambourine. That'd be money.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the game proper on Friday night. We're going to start with ref watch because we are. Do you know how you think it's bad, Mick? The stats are even worse than you think. So
before we carry on, are the stats so bad that I need to open a beer?
Yeah. Right. So Oliver Langford is the referee for Friday night. He has refereed us 13 times in the Championship. We have 1 win. And in that time, he has given 6 penalties against us, with 0 coming for us in that time. Now, I'm not saying, just delivering the information. But that's, I mean, it's weird, isn't it? I don't know. The win thing makes sense because we're not very good in the Championship historically. But 6 penalties in 13 games is a lot. Don't know. Go on, Mick.
You can be pretty sure it'll be 7 on Saturday morning. By Saturday morning, I mean they've got the cheap Jordan Bamford playing up front for him, haven't they?
I was just about to say if they've got
Bamford on his feet once he gets into the penalty area. So I mean it's an almost an inevitability that he will give them a penalty, and it will be Jordan Bamford, and it will be a dive.
Yeah. We'll take you back, and again, this is the same referee. If you remember, the COVID season away at QPR. You might not remember when Matt Olasunde got side down at QPR. This was the same one that didn't give that penalty.
Yes.
There you go. Let's play for Rain. You should use the was the referee that called it off. The only good thing he's done for us is that called the Cardiff game off at halftime with the Rain. Anything else on Mr. Langford?
I mean, it's let's wait while Sunday, and then we can. It'll give us something to talk about on Sunday, won't it? Because he will. I mean, it's almost the perfect storm, isn't it? You've got little old Rotherham United, you've got the massive that are Leeds United, ex-Premier League team, live on Sky. It's a perfect environment for him to do what he does best. All we needed was Keith Stroud as 4th official trying to get on telly as well, and would have been.
Have you checked if he is? Have you checked if he is?
I haven't. No, don't. Let's not even try that, shall we?
I've got to check that, Anna.
If Keith Stroud's 4th official, I'm just going to not bother going.
My internet's no, it's not. It's not. Andy Davies, whoever he is, but although we have had issues with Andy Davies before, I think actually. Anyway, Shelley says it will definitely be the big club live on Sky 2. It's nailed on. They will get everything. Yeah,
that just reminded me. Actually, I need to put it on record on Sky because we know what it's like. When I hit record, we win or draw. If I don't hit record, we lose.
Yeah, Danny, let's talk about the game because
do we have to?
It's difficult for us, isn't it? Really, because if I ask you what do you think you're going to see from Rotherham United tomorrow night, I don't know what I'm going to see. What do you think you're going to see? It's difficult. It's impossible to predict, isn't it?
I mean, the one prediction I can make is that I hope we turn up and play football and not rugby. I think that's the only prediction we can really make. Because I'm like, I have no idea what to expect. It's like, I don't know whether to expect a pasting from Leeds and just to ready myself for it, or ready myself for seeing something completely different because, it's the first game without Matt Taylor and it's Wayne Carlisle. And will he play the same way as Matt Taylor? Will he play his own way? Will we see the majority of the same players? Will some surprise players get benched? There are so many question marks over this game. It's almost added to the allure of going just to see what will happen. But yeah, I don't know what to expect in the slide. I don't even know if we'll play the same formation. No. I just don't know.
No, I don't either.
Which is now a graduated sports journalist is a very bad thing to say. I just don't know what's going to happen because I don't.
Scott Kent asked when you mentioned Jordan Bamford. Is it Patrick Hugel as well, Nick?
Did I say Jordan Bamford?
You did, yeah.
Wow, that was a proper slip, wasn't it?
Is that his brother who plays for Bradford Park Avenue?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I obviously did mean Patrick the Cheap Bamford. Yes. Sorry, did I leak again? Then sorry, my apologies.
Ian Brown just go back to Carlisle. Says if we get winning Carlisle, we may as well start booking trips for Shrewsbury and Orient next season. Let us go. Shelley says, "Are you nervous for tomorrow?" He says that part of him can see absolute pasting, then the other part thinks we'll actually turn up and surprise a few. Yeah, Mick. I mean, we could. But there's no. I can't tell you. I've got the same feeling, but I can't tell you why I think we might pick some up. Because if I try to put logic towards that thought, there is no logic towards that thought. We just might.
Well, there is.
We still might.
There's plenty of logic to that thought when you look at the teams that we've played against this season at home and given games against. We should have beaten Blackburn had it not been for the referee. We should have got at least a point out at Leicester had it not been for the referees disallowing that goal. We beat Norwich. Arguably, we could have beaten Ipswich with a little bit more luck. Had that ball not ricocheted off 13 parts of that player's leg before it trickled into the back of net. You know, when we play against the so-called big teams at New York Stadium, particularly under the lights. But either way, we give them a game and then they get a proper game. You know, so unless there's going to be a complete about turn and we put in an away performance, there's no reason why we can't get anything from this game. We're not playing Brazil. We're not playing Argentina. We're playing Leeds. They're not ahead of Ipswich. They're not ahead of Leicester, and they haven't been all season. So there might have been a Premier League side last season, but they're not this year. And you can throw all the stats you want about how much the players are worth, you know, where they played last season, how big they are, how many fans they get. All this nonsense makes the difference because we've done the same to other clubs of the similar stature this season. So I'm trying to be positive because you never know that which home game that our away team's going to turn up in, if indeed they do. I don't think I'm worried because of the home form. No.
Fair enough. Matt Miller says, "Don't Rotherham always do well against the bigger teams? It's in our DNA."
Yeah,
I suppose it is. Yeah. Shelley says the logic is, Rotherham United were unpredictable. Yeah. I mean, we've done it against Leeds before. I talked to some Leeds fans about this. I mean, we go back to 2004, Mick, when Leeds first came down from the Premier League, when they got relegated from the Premier League, and we got. Yeah. I think they hit the woodwork 3 times inside 10 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, Leeds. I think Clark Carlisle just was winning everything from set pieces, and then it was one of the most disgusting 1-0 wins I've ever seen. We got absolutely battered for 90 minutes. It was something like our first win in 17 games, and they were big leads who've just come down. It was just one of the most incredible Millmore nights at Millmore. The season was a joke, but the night was amazing. And Mike's Miller, that's what Rotherham do, I suppose. It's part of what we do. There's a Clark Harris goal as well in there, from which we're going to have a Friday night with Clark Harris' first goal for the club. There's the one where Warnock beat him with that late penalty from Greg Alford. If anyone remembers that one. That was chaos as well. That game was madness. But Leeds win this game on a massive bit of form, but there are issues for Leeds because they have quite a large Welsh contingent. They've got 4 Welsh players: Dan James, Ethan Ampadu, Joe Rodon, and somebody else that I can't remember. They played a massive game for Wales on Tuesday, and they're playing on Friday. And those 4 players are huge for them, particularly Rodon at the back. Bearing in mind that they'll sort of lighten the numbers defensively. So that could very well play into our hands that they've got internationals down here. That's just something that is great for them, and they'll get money from it. It's good that they've got those players played internationally. But playing on a Friday night is a nightmare for that kind of situation because I've just mentioned the Welsh players. Nonto was away with Italy and a few other players as well. These guys haven't had 2 weeks off like we have, and that could come back to bite them up back. So I know Parker's complained about it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but for me, that's a little bit straw clutchy with Leeds, to be honest. It does seem to be a weird thing in football at the minute that a lot of players get injured after international break. but I've not seen that any of their players are. Sure, they might be a bit more leggy than some of our players, but just looking at Leeds' last starting 11, which was against Plymouth. I'm just looking on FootMob for it. There are a lot of sevens in that. Good grief, there are a lot of sevens, 7 rated anyway. And yeah, like I say, they're in really, really good form, which will play a massive part in it. It's only one loss in their last 5, 6, going back to the start of October. And then there's us. So yeah, I don't think that them having a fair few internationals with Wales will really affect them too badly. It would if Wales were still playing and they just carried on the playoffs for Wales outside of the international window, which is what they do with is it AFCON that they do that with?
Okay.
I think they do that. But yeah, I don't think it'll affect them. I think they'll come into this game with the mentality of thinking they'll beat us, and that might be the thing that trips them up.
Yeah. Oh, look, you look at their team, and they've got an array of talent that on paper shouldn't be in the Championship. But as we mentioned, they are in the Championship. They've got to earn the right to play, much as we've got to earn the right. They've got to earn the right to play at New York Stadium. And I don't think they'll relish coming to New York Stadium. Martin Miller says, wasn't it Martin McIntosh in 2004? Yes, it was. Yes. Shelley says, if Dan James plays, would you switch Bramall to right back? His pace will be an issue for Dexter. That is an issue for me coming into Friday, mate. Dexter, we love Dexter. I think he's got a massive future. But he's been caught out defensively twice against Watford. You could defend him for one of them, but certainly one of them you couldn't. I wonder if he just needs time out. I wonder if he needs time out of the team, but then if you're going to take him out, you would have to put Peltier at right back. And with the pace that Leeds have got, that's frightening.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Yeah, you stick with Dexter, I think, assuming that he's not carrying any knocks from Jamaica and he's over any jet lag that he might be suffering as a result of flying back from there. So, but you need somebody in that defence to gaffer him a little bit and make sure he holds his position. So, yeah, you've got no choice really. To be honest with you, I don't know any of the players that they've got. I don't know any of their players other than Jordan Bamford. You know, are they better than Leicester?
Well, they beat Leicester.
Yeah, I know they did, but that was. I watched some of that game, and that was tedium of the highest order, weren't it? That game, for the vast majority of it, it was just like, oh, it was awful. Just passing it and passing it and passing it and passing it, and no else happening. They were horrible. Yeah, look, we play what's in front of us, don't we? And if we play to our strengths and we play to our ability and the level that we can match it, we can play it on. We'll match them. We'll match them on over 90 minutes. If we don't, then we'll get tonked, won't we?
If we don't turn up, we will get tonked. Yeah,
without a doubt.
Shall I say we can have Revan on left hand side, Bramall on the right? I'm not sure. I see what you're saying, but for me, I don't think Bramall's defensively good enough to play that far out of position. It might be better off playing in a game like this. Might be better off playing centre half because they're not going to go long. There's no aerial battles really, Danny, that Bramall's going to have to win against a Jordan Hugel type. The Leeds don't have that. They got Pro is wonderful and Bamford who has his moments and other players. But I wonder if it is a time to go 5 at back, stick Bramall as your left side, and then he can mop. If anybody gets in behind, you've got that pace to cover not only the left hand side, but you can also cover Sean Morrison, who I'm sure will need covering at some point.
Yeah, I think Bramall's pace might not be best utilised completely bombing it down the wing for this game anyway. Like you say, I think it might be better just for a mop-up, just in case of mistakes as well. Like, don't get me wrong, if he gets the ball and the space, go for it. But I agree, to be honest. I think we'd be better with the 5 line up against Leeds. And it's not a case of just going uber defensive. I think it's trying to play to the strengths that we've got as well, which is Sean Morrison has the experience, but he's on the slow side, and we've seen that from him recently. But if you've got the likes of Bramall to mop up, then because he is a good left-sided centre back, But he's better at the mopping up side of it rather than the going in for the tackle side of it, which is more
Although he
Morrison's.
does like a tackle.
Yeah, he does like a tackle, but it's not like his go-to thing. Whereas I think it's Morrison's go-to thing. The best tackle Bramall's done was the Brexit challenge against Ipswich, which we cheered like it were a goal. And we need that sort of atmosphere on Friday, by the way.
Oh, don't we just
But the only concern for me with the 5 is Dexter. Because Dexter's defensive attributes in a 5 have been called into question quite a few times. I think, but I also think his defensive stuff has been called in quite a bit anyway, whether it's a 4 or a 5. He just seems to get caught out too often. So it's a bit hit and miss there. I mean, if Peltier's fit, he could play right back, but
Pace.
It's a bit.
I'll go back to this. So I think Dexter has been poor recently, but, and this is a big but, Mick, I'm maybe give him a slither of defence here, because last season Wes got a lot of stick, and a lot of those times that Wes got stick because something Peltier had done by playing centre half, and recently Peltier is the one that's been playing the right side of the centre half, and I wonder if Dexter's not getting the support that he needs. We'll all maybe watch this tomorrow together, just if this does happen. Because Peltier cost us, hung Wes out to dry 2 or 3 times last season. I wonder if Peltier is not giving the support that Dexter needs, especially at the age he is. Or am I just clutching at straws there for Dex?
No, I don't think you are. When Pelt plays as a 3, he tends to get very narrow and leave his right back or his right wing back exposed quite often. But that's you're playing a player out of position, aren't you? When you're playing Pelt as a centre half. So who knows? As it's been mentioned in the comments a couple of times, Wayne Carlisle may change it completely. He may go 4-4-2 or something else. It may be a completely different game. A completely different setup. It's going to have to be significantly different in the midfield because we've lost two of our more experienced or most experienced midfielders to further hamstring injuries. So they're out till November at least. So there's going to be some big changes in midfield. And according to what I've read today, Jamie Lindsay's not ready for a start yet. So it's we may not end up with a 5 at cross back because we ain't got enough. Once Hex is going to have to drop into midfield, which is his better position, to be fair. And then Lord knows what he's going to do. We'll have to. The only thing we can do really is wait and see, because he's not got too many other defensive midfielders in the squad. They're all sort of attacking players. So it's going to be quite interesting.
Jamie says it's got Jamie. The game has got Jamie Lindsay written all over it. Yeah, it would. If he were fit enough to play in 80 minutes, then it absolutely would. Paramount says in the Watford game, Peltier was out of position a few times. Yeah. A Leeds fan says, please play Lee Peltier against Somerville. Yeah, that's the concern. That is one of the many concerns. Gives a few names: Somerville, Nonto, James, frightening pace. He's worried that Morrison and Peltier won't cope. He says Duffing has to start at centre half. But if you chuck in Bramall in there, then maybe you allow a Duffin to come further forward.
But if you're chucking Bramall and a Duffin into that back 3, you've got massive pace there with those two. So it would allow you to have an Ayala there in the centre of those two, and whilst Ayala's not got a huge amount of pace, he's got a huge amount of experience and is able to read the game. And then if you've got Dexter on the right and Revan on the left, you've got quite a lot of pace in that back line there. Well, certainly with Bramall and a Doffin, you've got a significant amount of pace. So
we'll see. Anyway, they'll not. The thing is, we are saying this. There's not much space in behind us anyway, is there? No, we're not going to be defending our halfway line, are we, Danny? This is going to be a situation where I'm not saying we're going to be under cosh for 90 minutes, but our defensive position will probably be quite deep anyway. So maybe the pace, maybe sitting deep will nullify that pace as much as we possibly can. Maybe that's what we need to do. Although it's not very exciting.
Yeah, that's true. But I think we might have to go away from trying to play exciting football against Leeds and just play the football that gets the job done.
Go away from it. When did we start doing it?
Well, like the little passing triangles that that Matt Taylor tried to implement. Might have to take a step away from that side of football and more of a, dig your heels in and stop it. Like you say, sitting a little bit deeper, but not too deep that it almost, like you say, makes us go under the cosh. Because we saw that with Paul Warren, we sometimes sat too deep and that just invited pressure. We just need to find that little line between a high line and sitting too deep to invite pressure.
I think.
So,
sorry to interrupt you, Danny.
Yeah,
the thing with Leeds, they're one of these teams that fanny about with ball a lot, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not necessarily much like Leicester. They're not necessarily a hugely progressive team. They fanny about with it, waiting for the Hollywood.
Looking for space.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I don't know. We're just speculating. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But I got a sneaky little feeling that Wayne Carlisle might change it around in terms of setup.
Maybe. YouTube says, just hope we don't park the bus. John says, only way you get anything out of this game is going to make it ugly, a horrible game.
Yeah.
We can't play Leeds at their own game, can you? You know what I mean? They're better than us. They are literally better than us. So you've got to you'll be clever. You've got to hope for a bit of luck. Gumbo says we're so pessimistic. We may as well give 3 points. Now we
might as well just not play the game, lads. You know what I mean? Just we'll stay at home and not play the game.
One of the things we've never been called on this podcast, I don't think, is pessimistic. We're the Happy Clappers podcast.
I'll deal with it. I can deal with that. I can cope with that. I don't know. It's not. Listen, I don't think it's not about being pessimistic, is it? It's about being realistic. And Leeds United are not our battle this season, or they shouldn't be our battle. Unfortunately, we've put ourselves in a position where now every team is our battle. We can no longer say that playing a team at home out of the top 5-6 clubs in the division is kind of a free hit. It's not anymore. There are no more free hits. We've used them all up and wasted them. So I think John's possibly right. Do we make it a scrappy, horrible game? Do we bring Gareth Ainsworth in just for one game? Do we go down that route? I don't think we will.
And Wayne Carlisle going to come out in a big wig with some snakeskin boots,
and his shirt up to his waist. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Shelley says the problem with the 5 at the back, it means you could be in for a long 90 minutes. We're surely inviting pressure. Why not attempt to go toe to toe? If it doesn't pay off, then fair enough. Can you go toe to toe, Danny? And we're all guilty for saying we'll just have a go. We've all said it. Can you do that? Can you just say, right, sod it? It's Leeds United. Who cares? It might as well be Luton Town or Barnes or whatever. We'll just go for it. Do you think it's as simple as that?
I mean, we were saying just go for it against Watford, and Matt Taylor said, but yeah. But I think with a team like Leeds, you can't really go toe to toe with them because they do what they do so well that if we try and go toe to toe with them, it'll just leave us with egg on our faces. I agree with John. If I'm being fair, I think the way to get to Leeds is to make it a horrible game. Which isn't a nice thing to say, but it may be a case of disruption rather than playing round them.
Yeah, Leeds struggled this season against picking Sheffield Wednesday when Wednesday went to their place, and Wednesday just sat in and soaked up the pressure, and it was 0-0. And Leeds really struggled against that kind of performance. Look, we don't care. Even if we win tomorrow and it's only shot on target and it's only touch inside their 18-yard box, who cares? It's about getting that performance, and we've got to be positive. It's a fine line, and it's a very difficult line to tread, Mick. And it's because they're bigger, because they've got better players. But you can't just sit in and just take all pressure, because if you do that, it happened against Southampton, didn't it? We took too much pressure, and they should have been at sight. And if they had the shooting boots, we'd lost 3 or 4-0. So it's about finding that line of being sensible, not being stupid, but at the same time, not being too defensive and giving yourself an outball and an outlet.
Look, we're playing Leeds United, right? And this is, and I genuinely have no, this is not a dig, all right? The Leeds United, they're a championship side. They're not even top of the championship, all right? We've played the top of the championship at home, and as we already talked about, and probably arguably should have got us something out of the game. So we're not playing Man City, we're not playing prime Barcelona, and a lot of people seem to be approaching this game as though this is just an absolute foregone conclusion. They're going to come in and they're going to whack us out of the park. That seems to be the sort of consensus. That's not the case. It could be the case if the away team turn up, but that's not happened. Touch wood so far this season, and I don't think it will tomorrow. So we have got a decent chance of getting something out of this game. And the other thing I will point out is that Daniel Farke's done this before with us with Norwich. He comes here and he completely underestimates what he's going to be facing. He's done it so many times before, and ends up getting a bit of egg on his face often, unless he gets a bit of help from referees with red cards that shouldn't be red cards and things like that. Which is highly, highly likely to happen tomorrow. We know that, and that's not a reflection of Farke. That's a reflection of the referee and Jordan Bamford. So I'm not suggesting for a second that we go toe to toe with them. However, we will attack them and we will create chances. It's a question of whether we're able to defend effectively.
Yeah. Shelley says the fans will be key tomorrow. They allowed even more so when we're on top. We need something to shout about. The crowd needs to get around the lads. That could be key. Yeah, I think there will be. I thought there's a reason the fans won't be behind the players. I think football fans are much more intelligent than people give them credit for, and I think fans understand when players need a push, really. And I think this is one of those games where the players need a bit of a getting behind. And as is always the case with New York Stadium, when the away fans are loud, it tends to bring out the loud in the home fans as well.
And we're on back foot. We're on the back foot. We've got no manager. Yeah, exactly. Everybody has written us off out of this game. Most people have written us off out of this division. This is when Rotherham United traditionally are the most dangerous.
Yes. There's your team talk. Wayne Carlisle, if you're listening, there you go. Get Mick in. Mick will do team talk for you tomorrow if you fancy it. His only payment is that you can't get Gareth Ainsworth in. That's the only thing he asks for payment.
Or Steve Evans.
What do you think, Danny? And again, a difficult question to answer, but in terms of strike force, obviously last time we started with Hugo and Nombe. I'd like to see Nombe start again because I thought he had two good games in a row, the Ipswich game and the Watford game. I feel like it'd be very, very harsh if Nombe wasn't to start against Leeds tomorrow because his pace we're going to need that pace. I don't think just a big man is good enough, to be honest with you. I think we need that pace for Friday night.
Yeah, potentially. I think just having just the one big target man, it wouldn't benefit us. To be fair, I don't think because we've seen how Hugo does play on his own, and he basically gets nothing really unless it's a really well taken cross from out wide. I suppose it'd be interesting to see Nombe and Kelly as well. That's something we've not really seen much of. Again, this is the whole. We don't really know what's going to happen because it's an interim manager at the minute. So Wayne Carlisle might go completely unorthodox and start Georgie, which is something I would like to see. But there's something in the back of my mind is telling me he'll try and at least do it the same way as Taylor, but tweak it slightly. So I think he'll have Nombe and Hugo starting up top, but he'll have tweaked it somehow in training. And because I'm not sat on Roundwood's golf course with binoculars out, I don't know what that is.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, no. Not anymore.
I think one thing we want to see is we want to see balls into box. And that's just something we've been gagging for. Since Jordan Hugill came in, you've got Jordan Hugill playing up top and you're not putting crosses in the box to him. That's the one thing I would like to see happen more. And it's a way of scoring goals. I think getting through the middle of Leeds is obviously going to be very, very difficult. So you're going to have to be clever in those wide areas and put the ball into the box because will cause every team in this division problems if you put the ball in a dangerous area. Any team. And it's going to be interesting to see what changes we see from Wayne Carlisle tomorrow and his team. I'm interested. I'm sure Matt Taylor's quite interested as well, to be honest with you. He'll be an interested viewer.
Phone to him.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish I'd not said that.
Why?
I really wish I'd not said that, because if somebody picks that up and puts that on Twitter,
Oh no.
Oh well. And yeah, I'm sure Sky will be on the watching out in the stands for any managers. If I was an out of work manager, I would be trying to get a ticket for this game in the posh seats. Even though I wasn't interested in the job, just to get just to get on the odds moving from Sky. Shelley says Shelley's prediction is a 4-1-2-1-2. Ti sitting, Haxon, Ollie. Then no, he says Cafu, but Cafu's out. He says Nombe and Hugo up top. Yeah, Cafu is out, as well as Klukas. 4 to 6 weeks for those guys. So probably after Christmas, probably. We will remain to be seen. I don't think there's any other injury issues. Grant Hall could be back. Can I ask this question? People have sort of said on Twitter that Grant Hall had a dig at Matt Taylor. I didn't think he had a dig at Matt Taylor in his interview. I just thought he said because of the circumstances he had to be thrown in the deep end. I didn't see that as a dig. Did anybody have an opinion on that? I disagree with the on that.
Was this the chat I did with the advertiser?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really see it as a dig either. I just thought it was just I was victim of circumstance. I was needed. I wasn't 100%, but I had to do the job.
Mm.
So I didn't really see it as a dig. I thought it was just basically showing I'm doing my part.
Yeah. Mick, anything?
no. I mean, you can pick up what you want, can't you? From I retweeted something from the Leeds Press last night, a comment, and it was a quote from Daniel Farke about Rotherham United not coming back as Man City, after the international break. But the tweet was something about Daniel Farke saying that Rotherham aren't going to get anything out of this game, and all he's done is twisted something that he actually said, which is perfectly legitimate and reasonable, into something complete nonsense. And that's essentially the same sort of thing, isn't it? You can listen to a quote from somebody and turn it to mean whatever you want, and then all of a sudden it gains traction. And it's it's just rubbish. It came back too soon.
Yeah,
I've got
to say no.
I'm not fit. You know what I mean? So let's not read too much into it.
Yeah. There we go. I think last time I played third place team on telly, was that Blackburn? They were third. We were live on telly, wasn't it? Symmetry.
4-0. Were they third or were they second?
I think they were third. Because Burnley and Ipswich, Sheffield were gone.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So it's 4-0 tomorrow. We'll clip this.
Really? Do we really think something could happen like 4-0, maybe 1-0 at a push? But
wouldn't that be just a championship all over though? You've got the informed team in the league coming to the team that's got no manager, it's just been beat 5-0. I'm not saying it's the most Rotherham thing, it's the most championship thing ever, wasn't it? That's not my prediction.
If Rotherham beat Leeds by more of a scoreline than 3, so it could be 3-0 or it could be 4-1, whatever. I will go out in Sheffield for that Friday night. I wasn't planning to. I was planning on going to football. Then, what's that? Sorry,
in a Leeds kit.
No, oh God, no. No, I'm not that brave. Maybe still in my Rotherham shirt, yeah, but I don't see it happening.
No,
I want to go to football and come home and go to bed. But if we do beat them by more than 3, I will just go out. And I have work at 12:30 the next day. So,
fair enough. Phil just mentions this is interesting. Did anyone see the increase in hamstring injuries throughout the season? It's strange. Yeah, the BBC puts something about Premier League hamstring injuries. There's an issue. I don't know. I'd be interested to know the issue because the Championship games haven't increased in terms of how many games you play. So, but there is an issue in terms of hamstring injuries in football at the minute. Be interested if somebody does some work on that and finds out why.
I have done a bit of research into it, to be fair, and apparently there's just something in the water and it's making it happen.
Okay, is it some 5G something?
Yeah, it's all them COVID jabs that everyone have. They've made your hamstrings physically weaker, and that's why footballers are getting injured.
I get it.
And the footballers that have never had a hamstring injury this season so far are the ones that haven't had COVID jabs or lesser amounts of them.
Yeah. You know, we should ask. We should get see if Matt Letizia has got any insight on this because he'll know about these kind of things. Let's move on. Poor upset people. David Hope says, generally fancies under the lights, pride, passion, commitment, give it our all, and I think we'll do the dirty Leeds 3-1. He says, positivity. Now, we'll still go to the predictions where we'll start with me, which is not positive. I think it'll be essentially a repeat of the Leicester game. I think we'll push them hard. I think it'll be a really good game in terms of it being a competitive game. I think when the subs start to come on, I think it'll just kill game because the quality they will have. They'll bring Dan James on probably on 75 minutes and think just the pace and things will kill us too late in the game. I think so. That's 2-1. Mick?
2-1 Rotherham.
2-1 Rotherham. I think we went 2-0.
No, I've done 2-0.
Did you? Oh, yeah, well, you did. Yeah, sorry, apologies. Yes. Danny?
3-0 Leeds.
3-0 Leeds?
Yeah.
Oh, Simon will be revoking your happy clappers membership card. He'll be getting scissors putting you up.
That's me being positive.
Wow. John Pell says COVID jabs. Danny's been watching the David Cottrell Letizia interview, haven't you?
I did watch True Geordie's interview with what's he called now? It's like Eric Ike, I think he's called, something like that.
David Ike or something like
David
that.
Ike, that's it, yeah. I did watch that, and he's a big conspiracy theorist, and I'm weirdly invested in what he has to say. I need to find my tinfoil hat again. Oh, dear.
You do, we'll get some head up. I'll get you one for Christmas.
Thank you.
Before we go through every other pictures and comments, because we've got some interesting ones. I mentioned and put out on Twitter that if we think about a game, we get people occasionally comments asking us for fan voices. It's difficult to organise into a podcast so many people. We've got 7 or 8 people who try to get on regularly. I forget about half of them as well. So if you want to be on, we're thinking about getting you guys on to do the post match, not the instant review, but a sort of separate thing. So if you want to be on that, well, we haven't thought of a name for it yet, to be honest with you. But if you're hanging around outside the North Stand for 10 minutes after kickoff, after kickoff, we'll be in the ground. After full time, we'll be out. We're hanging about outside the North Stand doing the instant reaction. So if you're around there and want to come on, we'll just speak to you for 60 seconds, give us your thoughts on the game, and we'll bung them all together, put it on YouTube on what would be Saturday morning. Only works if people want to do it. If nobody wants to do it, that's fine. But obviously, we can't put a video out with nobody on it. So let us know if you want to do it. Just give us a heads up so we know to wait a little bit of time. John Rell says, honestly, you need to do a Mick reacts video to the interview. Yeah, right.
No, I don't know about it. I've not seen it. I've not seen anything of it, but
that's what would make the reaction video better, that you didn't know about it.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Some predictions. Gumbo says an entertaining 3-3. Take that. Sarah Ogden says 1-1. Terry Fimmer says 3-2. Scott Kent says 3-1 to Leeds. Matt Mill says 2-1. Harry says 1-1. Feel like we'll get some early and then a late heartbreak. John S. And YouTube says 2-1 to the Millers. John Rell says 4-1 to Leeds. Powerwed says 2-2. Martin Holland says 3-1. Shirley says Victor have a stormer as usual. Then watch Leeds come in for him. Yeah, it's set for a Victor master show, to be honest with you. Masterclass is what we're trying to say. Didn't get any minutes in the internationals. Just to point out the Victor. But there you go. Boys, anything else?
I don't know what Sweden's coach is playing at.
He's left now.
Oh, good.
Shall we have a sweepstake as to how many times Jordan Bamford rolls on floor screaming and banging his hand? Or we'll just how many times Jordan Bamford claims to be injured during the game?
I reckon you should get your stop clock on your phone.
Got me calling him back Jordan now.
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
I will, yeah.
Okay.
Mick, get the stop clock on your phone and actually time it, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Person who gets to the nearest minute wins.
Second, you mean? You mean second is what you mean?
No, well,
it's not much more than 60 seconds, is it?
What? He's going to be on floor.
Bamford dives. His dives not much more than 60 seconds, is it?
Well, but he stays there for ages, doesn't he?
Yeah.
John
Melton doesn't get on the pitch. It doesn't get on the pitch, no, but Rutter's injured, apparently. and Bamford is possible to come in for a duffer, potentially. Terry Fenby. He'll go down at least 70 minutes out of the 90.
I think that's a fair shout, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
I don't know whether I don't know whether you're getting any vibes from me that I don't like him or not, but if
Patrick,
you are, you're right.
Patrick or Jordan?
Jordan, I'm a big fan. Patrick, no, not so much.
There we go. Anything else?
No. I just want a manager. I want this manager thing over and done with. Get it out of that way because it's really grinding my gears now.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready for it. When you're a new manager, it's like when you're signing players at summer. It's exciting for a minute because you don't know you're going to. You don't. It's exciting, and then 3 weeks later, as it feels like, as it almost is, we're getting into the third week almost. It's just a bit tiresome now. But yeah, get a manager. Come on.
Let's go.
If you haven't already, please check out the Scouting Report, which is the LS11 podcast. They just give a rundown of the start of the season, the difficulties at the start of the season, and how Parker's got Leeds going, and a few dangerous players to pick out as well. The instant reaction will be up Friday night. I don't know when on Friday night, but the instant reaction will be up. There. And if we get people that want to come on, do you want to think of a name for this fan thing? Fan voices, fan-led thing? I don't know. Somebody gives us some names for this for the fan views, and we'll pick one. If you want to come, like I said, we'll be outside North Stand. It only takes us 20 minutes to film the instant reaction, so we will be around there for a little bit. And get behind the Millers on Friday. If you're going on Friday, get behind and make a bucket load of noise. These games under lights, these Yorkshire derbies under the lights, are some of the best at New York Stadium. They are the absolute best. We've had some crackers over the last 11 years we've been at the stadium, and hopefully this will be another one. I'm looking forward to this. So we said again for the Leicester game, these are the kind of games we win the Championship for, to play against the big teams so we can bloody their nose, and I really hope that's what we do tomorrow night. Danny, thank you very much for being with us, and congratulations again on the graduation, as many people have put in the comments.
Yes, thank you to everybody for the congratulations. I know we never have to see Chef Hallam Uni again, so happy days. But honestly, thank you to everybody. I didn't expect as many people as have come through to say congrats when I put it on Twitter of me and Jed, to be fair. So thank you, everybody. And yeah, onwards and upwards from here, I think.
Absolutely. Mick, anything we need to congratulate you on? Getting through this podcast with your 4G.
Yeah, that as well.
John Morell says, does this mean Danny isn't a student, he'll stop drinking Carlin?
To be fair though, I haven't had Carlin for months. And I think it's because of John just nibbling at me the whole time, so I've not had Carlin for months. I've converted to Guinness now.
A few names. Terry Femi says Millers for the fan show. Harry says Fan Rant.
Ooh, well,
we could be on that every week. Ruth Clark says New York Fan Talk. Yeah. Nicholas Crabtree says Fan Bloody-tastic. I like this one. Phil says North Stand Views. I quite like that one.
But what if we have someone from the East Stand on?
Yeah, but we're at the North Stand, aren't we, though? So
yeah, fair.
Yeah. There. Anyway, keep sending them. At the minute, North Stand Views is winning. So there we go. Thank you, Mick. Did I say thank you to
you? You did. I noticed Shelley's mentioned there that I should be congratulated on getting through. It's not working. Get through the episode without swearing.
Do you want to tell them the story about being on Radio Sheffield?
Yeah. Somebody mentioned earlier on that I was on. No, I didn't know. I was on radio on Praise or Grumble on Radio D-Dar earlier on, and we were talking about Leeds, and I have no idea. The first thing that my wife said to me when I came off the phone was, "You nearly said Bell End Road then, didn't you?" And I was so close. I managed to drop B before it got to my lips, but I still ended up saying L End Road. So it was so obvious. That would have been a bit of a... Don't be asking New York Talk back on Radio Sheffield again, then, would they?
Well, it's funny you say that. They've asked me to go on Friday.
Just be careful, Danny.
I'm actually sure it's Elland Road, not Elland Roads. I won't pronounce that extra E.
Right, we're just chatting crap here. So thank you everybody who's still putting up with us at this point, because this has descended into absolute nonsense. We'll see some of you tomorrow. If you are there at the North Stand post game tomorrow, give us a shout. We'll see you there. If not, we'll see you. Well, you can see this in action. We'll be back on Sunday evening for who knows what. But we will also always look ahead to the Hull City game, which is on Tuesday evening, I think it is. It's all fun and games being a Millers fan. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We will see you very, very soon. And up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Duffy, he can hit them, and he does. Oh! The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.